This is Zafar Abundance Wala, and you're watching Abundance Show on Global Abundance Organization, Cow TV. And today, Dina Cramer, an exponential coach who's aligned with abundance, and she's tuned into abundance, and she's tuning the globe and 8 billion people into abundance. And she's got something in her head today, some divine game. And I also believe that we are spiritual human beings having human experience, and we'll go back where we have come from. So let's see what's in common and how can we transform this thinking into exponential human intelligence, and how can we convert that exponential human intelligence into betterment of this and co-creation of the future that we all want for. Over to you, Dina. How are you doing?
Hi, Zafar. I'm so happy to be here. What a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. And hello to all the viewers and listeners.
I like you to please just express yourself deeply and introduce whatever you have in your heart and mind to the globe. Over to you, Tina.
Introduce myself in terms of who I am, or the work that I'm doing, or both?
Both. Both.
Okay, so I'm Dina Cramer. As you've heard, I have been working in the field of coaching and leadership development for over 20 years now. Before I entered into the corporate world and coaching, I was working as an intuitive healer. So always interested in energy, being very tuned into the world of energy and spirituality. And I was a single mom and sole provider for my 4 sons for over 20 years. And now my sons are all adults, and I'm taking this opportunity to become nomadic. So I'm traveling. I'm in Portugal at the moment. I was born in South Africa, but in Portugal at the moment. And in about a week's time, I'm going to go to the UK. So I'm taking this opportunity to be nomadic and to travel and to just experience life and live life. So the work that I've been focused on at the moment is a theory that I have around life, is that this human experience is like living in a computer game. And I call it the divine game of being human. We'll go into that, I'm sure, a lot more in this time that we're talking together. But basically, the idea of this divine game is to really be yourself for a living. So I'm exploring how to be myself for a living, how to live my most abundant, happiest, healthiest life. So that is me in a very quick nutshell.
Thank you, Dina. When we talk, say, and we generally, some people coming to us and for the interviews or they ask some advice, we always tell them, be yourself. How deep and how true is being yourself? Can you please get us deep down to bring that gems of wisdom out of this one sentence, be yourself?
Wow, so there's so much in that. And I think I want to start with the be, because this world focuses on what we do and not on who we are being. And I think it's important to realize who we are being when we're doing whatever it is we're doing. And to be yourself is, I think that is a lifelong quest. It's not just an easy thing. I think it's quite complex. Like, who am I actually? Because I'm a human being, and I'm a divine being. I'm a spiritual being. I'm someone who's been programmed with a lot of social conditioning and programming. So what is me? What is truly me? I think that is a lifelong journey, and something that is not simple as when we say be yourself. That sounds very simple, but you need to first know who you are. You need to have that self-awareness of who am I actually, and that is quite a quest.
Thank you so much. Okay, now since you talk of the divine game, this is very profound idea. It's not superficial. Would you like to just deep dive and get us more about what's the divine game?
Yeah, so I like to think of life like a computer game. And in this computer game, we have three characters or three parts of ourself. So the first part of ourself is the avatar. So in the computer game, it's the little character in the game. And that character is our human self with all our conditioning and our past experience and our lived life. It's the one that is having to live our lives and deal with the day-to-day challenges that we experience. That is our avatar. And the game has a number of different levels. And ultimately what we want to do is we want to reach the highest levels like we do in a computer game. And that requires us to go through certain challenges and to upgrade ourselves, to upgrade our avatar. Now, in order to do that, we need to connect to the designer. The designer of the game is the one who holds the blueprint of the whole game. That is our higher self. And that is the one that knows all the different paths that will lead us to where it is we want to go, that will lead us to the highest, fullest expression of our soul plan. And the designer is always there. We always have access to our designer. But we need to learn how to listen to that and to bring that into our third dimensional world. And we do that through the player. Now, the player is the one that is actually holding the control of the computer game and is playing the game. And that is our conscious awareness. And the conscious awareness is the bridge between the avatar and the designer. And it listens for the designer's guidance, and then it translates that to our avatar and tells us, go this way, do that. But in order to do that, we need to be conscious, we need to be aware, we need to be plugged into our player. And that's where, some of the tools come in, such as self-awareness, meditation, intuition. So just being conscious of how we are playing this game, how we are showing up in our lives, and realizing everything that the avatar holds, how we've been conditioned, what the parameters of our game are, and how we can start to work with those parameters and overcome those parameters so that we can upgrade our avatar and go to higher and higher levels of the game, so that we can ultimately live a life where we are being ourselves for a living, which is where we are living our happiest, healthiest, most abundant lives, where we are really expressing our true self and bringing our uniqueness to this world. So I believe that every single one of us has a very unique role to play in this world. It's like everybody is a piece of a very big divine puzzle. And only when we are being our divine self, our true self, our authentic self, which is all our gifts and our talents that we have to offer this world, then we become the particular puzzle piece shape that then fits into the puzzle piece of this world. So I think it is our divine responsibility to bring our true authentic selves to this world and to share our gifts and our talents that make us uniquely ourselves. So that's just a very high level explanation of the divine game of being human.
Oh wow, such a noble, it's like highest level of nobility. Wonderful. You're orbiting in the universe where it's a higher energy orbit level. And I am just trying to, pick 1 or 2 stars out of your wisdom. Okay, one is, how do we tune into being a champion mind? And I mean, like, we all are stuck, and we think that there is some invisible force that is stopping us. And probably while reading your work, I think we've got the inner mountain to conquer. We are the block for ourselves. So how do we just unblock the abundance of health, wealth, and happiness for ourselves?
I love that. And in my course, I actually use the analogy of climbing the mountain. So it's a beautiful. I love that you brought that up, because it is an inner mountain. And for me, I think the first place for us to start is to really understand our human self and our avatar. And our human self is conditioned to keep us safe. Our avatar doesn't want to. If we are playing a game, in order to go to the next level, sometimes you need to die before you go to the next level, or the avatar is not the same on the lower level as it is on a higher level. And our avatar tries to keep us safe through all the third dimensional rules and beliefs and structures that we have. And so one of the first things for us to realize and to do is to understand that we are not our avatar. We are not, we over-identify with our avatar. And I think that is one of the key learnings, is that when we, so for example, if I'm overwhelmed, I say, you'll say to me, Dina, how are you doing? And I say, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. But when I say that, I'm claiming the whole of me as overwhelmed, because I am, as you know, in law of attraction, I am is one of the most powerful attraction statements we can say. So what I start with teaching people is to start separating their identity from their avatar, and to say, my avatar is experiencing overwhelm. So it's just a part of me, and my avatar is experiencing this overwhelm. And once I do that, I can separate from it, and that then initiates the player, the observer. And then I can observe my avatar and go, okay, why is my avatar experiencing this overwhelm? And I can see that it's related to past programming, to maybe past trauma. And I can view that with compassion and with understanding. And once I do that, and I tell my avatar, you know what, I understand that that's how you're feeling, and it's okay, it's safe for you to feel that. But that is not who I am. I am this bigger divine part of myself, and I'm moving myself in the direction of someone who is living a full, happy, healthy, abundant life. And you keep on turning your avatar in the direction of moving up the mountain. The avatar is going to continuously try and move you down the mountain towards safety. But it's really about being aware of what your avatar is doing and how you can consciously turn that avatar in the direction of your divine self, so that you can constantly keep on moving and hearing and listening to the divine messages that are being sent to you, so that you can just take step by step towards your abundance and your best life. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does so much. Okay, but I mean, one more question. That, okay, it's very difficult to do all this in incubation in special environment. It's like a kind of laboratory where, I mean, external elements are not in. They're not disturbing you. But now, since we live in with 8 billion people, we are so well connected now, and there are distractions, there are negativities, like, and 70% of the communication about yourself is negative. The people talk negative about you, about me, about anybody. So considering this fact, how do we stay aligned to our purpose or the guideline that you're telling us, how like meditating, time, giving time to yourself, be yourself, I mean, dive into yourself and fetch the pearl of wisdom. How do we do this? Over to you.
Yeah, so I really believe that we create our reality, and whatever we are experiencing in our outer reality is a mirror of our inner self. So I think it's important for us to really hear what we think and what we believe and what we say about ourselves and about other people, because that is a reflection of us. So again, that is the awareness of the avatar, and really becoming consciously aware of what you're thinking, feeling, saying, and whether that is serving you or not serving you, whether that is true or not true. And then consciously deciding who it is you want to be and how that version of you wants to show up, and then committing to being that version of you rather than the version that is constantly putting yourself down, constantly insecure, listening even to what other people have to say about you rather than you knowing yourself and being committed to yourself and your journey. So I think that for me is the important thing, and for me, one of the tools that helps me with that is that I have a feel good morning and evening routine. So before I go to sleep at night, I make sure that I call it plugging in. I don't know. I love Abraham Hicks, and Abraham Hicks has this beautiful analogy. She says that, you know, when she looks at human beings, it's like we're vacuuming the house, and we're taking our job very, very seriously, and we are, you know, pushing this vacuum all around. We're moving the furniture. We are doing such a good job, and we are really putting a lot of effort into it, only to find out that we haven't plugged the vacuum cleaner in. And she says that that's the way most of us live our lives, that we need to first plug in to our divine being. So in my analogy to the designer, we need to plug into that designer, because the designer knows the way. The designer is constantly telling you, come this way, do this. This is the easiest, happiest, best path for you to follow. But we are so busy and distracted with social media and what other people are saying and responsibilities and all sorts of stuff that we don't take the time to plug in. So plugging in is, for me, that is the most important thing that we can do in our days, plug in. So at night, I plug in before I go to sleep. I have my feel good evening routine where I go to sleep in a space where I give gratitude for my day. I observe my body and see what's, you know, if there's anything that I need to take care of in terms of my nervous system and my body. I open myself up to receive guidance and support and healing as I sleep. And then I decide to fall asleep in that fifth dimensional version of myself. And that puts me in a place that is more likely to wake up in that fifth dimensional version of myself. And then as I wake up, I do the feel good morning routine, which is also, you know, gratitude again, observing my body, opening myself up to receive. So I usually do some kind of meditation or something that opens me up to my designer, that connects me to my designer. And then I will spend some time in the fifth dimensional reality and choose what part of that I want to bring into my day. So for example, I will say to myself, today I want to embody confidence. So I'm going to walk with confidence. I'm going to speak with confidence. I'm going to wear something that makes me feel confident. Whatever it is, each day I choose something that's going to bring me closer to the fifth dimensional version of myself that is already living the life that that I'm wanting to create for myself. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. I am living this life as I spoke to you earlier also, and I am also trying to tune myself from scarcity to abundance. I was earlier. Everybody is generally tuned into scarcity just because of the previous thinking, the backgrounds, the cultures, the things, and everything. But now I've been talking to you also and other professionals like yourself, and I'm trying these all things, and this is all tuning me from scarcity to abundance. That's this from the darkness to the light. That's really really amazing. Before I ask for any other testimonial, would you like to narrate your own story, that I mean how it changed your life?
So, as I said, from the time I was young, I was very in tune with energy. I think, in fact, I remember from being a baby, realizing that I don't know if I want to be on this earth plane, and in fact, I I drowned when I was young, and I had a near death experience. And that, for me, I know that I really wanted to go back to God. I didn't want to stay on this earth plane because I knew that it was going to be hard. and and so from a very young age, I was very connected to energy and to the spiritual realm. And when I started school, because I was off with the fairies all the time, they put me onto Ritalin, and that immediately disconnected me from my spiritual world that I was living in, and put me very clearly into this third dimensional reality. And I suffered a lot with depression when I was younger. So um, when I got out of school and I started university, I decided I wanted to be a psychologist, because I wanted to help people, and I wanted to also help myself to just try and figure out how to live a happy life, because I wasn't happy at all. And when I was at school, I actually met my husband, which is now my ex-husband. We met when we were very, very young, and he was a drug addict, and I was his healer. I was trying to help him to heal, and we had a very codependent, difficult relationship. We got married. We had 4 children together, and eventually I realized that for my own sake, I needed to leave the marriage. And when I did that, his response was that if I didn't want to be with him, then I had to do this on my own. So I found myself very quickly the sole provider for my four sons. And I just had my 4th son. So I had 1 newborn baby and 3 young children. And I had to figure out how to support them on my own, because before, my husband had been the provider. And that's what made me learn about abundance. I had to figure out how to do that. So in a way, I'm very not glad, but I know everything happens for a reason, and I understand that was my reason, because it forced me into really figuring out law of attraction. And what I did is I had already studied psychology, and I was working as an intuitive healer, and my clients started to invite me into their companies to do stress management. We called it stress management because they wanted to bring spirituality into the workplace. But this was about 20 odd years ago, where spirituality was still a bit of a taboo, and meditation was a bit of a taboo. So my first book that I wrote was on meditation, and meditation was still something that people thought was evil. And so I started working in corporates, doing stress management, bringing in meditation and guided visualization. And then from there, I got invited to work with other companies who were doing leadership development and soft skills development. So I started facilitating leadership development. And when coaching came onto the scene, that really excited me, because I found psychology was focused more in terms of the past and focusing on your wounds, whereas coaching was more forward-looking, and what you can do in the present to move your life forward. And I found that a lot more empowering. So I loved the idea of coaching. I studied coaching. I started bringing that into the work that I was doing in leadership. And so that's really how I sustained myself and my 4 sons for many, many years. And now they are adults, and they have all moved out of home. So I am now really stepping into being myself again. So less in the corporate world, but more, and I wouldn't say less in the corporate world, but more really just claiming that spiritual side of me. And anyone who wants to do that kind of work, because I think the corporate world can also do with spiritual intelligence. They've done a lot around emotional intelligence, but we now need to realize that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, like you said. And I think that when corporates and businesses realize that and bring that into the work that they're doing, it's just going to help exponentially their work for themselves and for the planet. So yeah, that's just a little bit about my journey.
Oh my goodness. I want to confess. I want to confess that there are things that we know, but we don't believe in that. We know these are right things, but from inside, if someone in your heart is not endorsing that, and since heart is not endorsing those realities, and that's why these are not the action are not generated accordingly, so that those things are not in action. So I want to confess, I believe and I trust that the meditation really it's like unlearning and relearning, unwinding and like rewinding, or like it's like rewiring the brain that have been. This is so I know till then, but I want you to educate me in a way that I start not only believing this, but I really start acting on it. What does it do actually?
So our mind is so dominant in this world that we're living in. We are taught that our mind is like the strongest thing, and we need to really believe our thoughts. But we have so many thoughts, and our mind should be a tool for us rather than it ruling the show and being the owner of us. So, for example, when I say that, your mind is constantly telling you, do this, go here, I don't feel like doing this, eat that. Our mind is constantly telling us things and giving us instructions and keeping us busy thinking about stuff. What should I make for supper? How should I respond to this person? And it's not particularly helpful for us if we're wanting to be conscious, and if we're wanting to be, well, we are the creators of our reality, but if we want to really own that, we need to be conscious, and we need to be the ones that are controlling our thoughts, because our thoughts create our reality. So what meditation does is it allows you to go into yourself and to see what is happening in yourself that is now being reflected out into the world. And once we know that, we can change that. We can choose and we can decide how it is we want to show up in the world. But it's about first meeting that human part of ourselves with compassion and with curiosity, and with awareness. So what it does, what meditation does, and there's so many different forms of meditation, but if you're doing a meditation, for example, where you're just clearing your mind, what that does is it trains your mind to know that you're not going to jump onto every single thought that it gives you. You're going to pick and choose which thought you want to give your attention to. So a thought will come into your mind and you'll let it go, and it will come into your mind and you let it go. And I remember in the beginning when I first started meditating, it was so painful and it was so frustrating. It was really difficult for me to just keep on letting go of these thoughts. And sometimes I'd find that for a couple of minutes I'd already been following that thought and continuing that thought and thinking, oh, I'm so bad at this. But then you just bring yourself back and you go, no, I'm just going to let that thought go. And you get better and better at just realizing that your thoughts are like clouds in the sky. You know, they're just moving through. And if you decide to hook onto it, then you'll go with it. But if you decide not to, it will move through you. And you don't have to believe every single thought that comes into your reality. So what's beautiful about meditation is that it then makes you consciously in control of your life and your thoughts, and then you can choose the thoughts that create a better, happier, healthier reality for yourself, more abundant reality. Have I convinced you?
What you said word by word is true. And I'm convinced, honestly. I was just thinking that how do I just day one, day two, and can you give me a week's schedule? How do I do this?
I think it's different for everybody. So I started off with transcendental meditation, and I found that very difficult to do. It's very powerful, but I found it very difficult. For my Western mind, I found guided visualizations were easier because it kept my mind busy. So it would guide it's almost like telling a story, and then you guide yourself through. So that was actually the first book that I wrote, called Millennium Meditations. And it was, so I have a number of meditations. I can share them with you. And I would suggest to just every single day get into the habit of doing at least 10 minutes of meditation, where you're training your mind to focus on the things that you want it to focus on rather than what it wants you to focus on. So yeah, I can definitely share that. I can share that with your viewers as well. But I would start with a daily commitment for at least 10 minutes a day, either in the evening before you go to sleep or in the morning when you wake up. Either way. So if you meditate before you sleep, especially for people who struggle to sleep and stay asleep, it would be good. But for me, the morning meditation is the one that really just sets the tone for the day. I have a beautiful inner smile meditation. It's actually free. I have it on, I think it's SoundCloud. And that inner smile meditation just brings in positivity to every cell of your body. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being again an abundant personality. And again, an abundant person is the one giving, and you're always giving your knowledge, your experience, and now you're sharing with us the secret formula for the meditation. Thank you so much. Okay, how about the second book? I mean, can you just walk us through the second book for the millennials.
So my first book was Millennium Meditation. My second book was actually a bit of a spiritual memoir. It's called The Angel Who Forgot Herself. And it was really after a time. So I had cancer in 2023. I had to go through chemotherapy. And after that, I spent a lot of time working on myself, healing myself, and realizing that I need to take care of this human body of mine. For the whole of my life, I was this more spiritual being, and I was my human body was something that I dragged along. I didn't, as I said, I didn't really want to be human, so I didn't take care of my human body, and having cancer made me realize that, and really look into my relationship with myself. And in doing that, I actually had I did a psilocybin journey, and I got some amazing insights, and I was trying to unpack that. And it was all about integrating your light and your dark, how as human beings we need to face our shadow, and that we are all one. And so I was actually just working on this myself, trying to understand it myself. And I love ChatGPT, so I was kind of working with ChatGPT on it, and this beautiful book emerged. And what it made me realize was that it was at the time with October the 7th and the Gaza war, and there was just so much polarization and hatred and war going on. And it made me realize, because we are the creators of our reality, to take a look at what war was going on within me, and how I, as a human being, was playing a role in what was happening globally. So yeah, it was really about looking at integrating the shadow, and not polarizing people, us and them, and really coming to peace within myself, so that there could be peace within the world. So that is what that book was about. I never really thought I would ever share it. It was my own inner journey, but got very strong guidance to share it because of what is happening in the world with the wars, with polarization. And I think that it might be something that helps people to understand how to deal with the war within themselves, so that we can create peace in our outer world.
For that, I mean, South African, being South African, it's a pride for you that this was the only country, rather to say, first or the second country in the world who stood for Gaza. Whatever is happening there is absolutely inhuman, and that needs to be dealt with with justice. As South African government and the people of South Africa stood, and especially kudos to Iran that they stood for this. Okay, I'm going back to the our start. You talk of the divine game, and if it is a divine game, how can, as a person, as a human on earth, how can person like myself be the part and can be exponential beneficial in the divine game? About, I mean, how can I just take care of my avatar, or how can make it stronger and believe in it, and then I actually generate some value out of it?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is to really understand that you're not just one person, you're actually three, you're playing three different roles. That you are your human self, which is the avatar, you are the player, which is the conscious self, the one holding the control, and you are the designer, which is your higher self, your divine self. and to learn how to align those three and to bridge those three so that the designer is constantly, or should I say, so that the avatar is constantly hearing the designer's wisdom and guidance through the channel of the player, and then the player is consciously moving your avatar up the mountain, step by step up the mountain. So it's that for me is how we really master the game of the divine game of being human. And it's I think a lot of spiritual practices don't take the human being part with as much divinity. You know, we are divine beings. Our human self is divine. And that's what we need to realize, that we are all divine beings. Our avatar is a divine being. It just doesn't know that it's a divine being. It's stuck in programming. So it's really about this process of aligning the avatar, the player, and the designer. So that's what I'm working on in my course, how you do this and how you how you walk up the mountain, and then what to do when the climb gets hard, and what to do when you realize that you are actually going back down the mountain. Because I think that's what happens with a lot of law of attraction. People know that it works. They've experienced it. They know that it works. But they're just finding it difficult to apply, especially with the big things, the important things in their life. So this divine game of being human helps you to become more conscious, to step into that conscious player role, and to really make sure that you're tuned into your designer, and that your human self, you're taking care of that human self, so that your human self feels safe enough to go to the higher levels. Because when our avatar doesn't feel safe, takes over, and that's when we start to self-sabotage ourselves and become less conscious and turn to our addictions, whether it is food or Netflix or whatever it is. So yeah, it's alignment of all three.
Thank you so much, Dina Cramer. Fantastic explanation. Now, I want to augment this spirituality with AI. How can we just take benefit of the modern technologies to make it more exponential and to solve the world's problem?
Yeah. So I love AI. I think that there's so much debate around AI and whether it's good or bad for us. And I don't know if there is, again, that's the polarity, you know, either or. If we can use AI in a way that that benefits us, where we don't give our humanity away, but we use it boost ourselves. So, for example, with the book that I wrote, I'm not a natural writer. The first book that I wrote, the Millennium Meditations, was channeled. That book just came through me in a like 1 or 2 days. It just came through me, and I kind of feel like AI is also a bit of a channel. I almost felt like ChatGPT was my ghostwriter. So I told it the story, and it gave it back to me in a beautiful way that I couldn't have said it better, and in a way that I was struggling to put across some ideas, and it was able to go, I think this is what you mean, and it was like, yes, that's exactly what I mean. So I think that AI
Probably due to bad signals, and we
much
have lost.
time doing.
Yeah, she's back. Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
we lost you. We lost you for some moment when you were talking about that AI. That since you love AI and you want to, augment your AI with your spirituality, so that we can solve the world's largest and biggest huge problems.
Yes. So, AI is, I almost see it like a wonderful assistant. So you don't give away your power to it, but you use it to help you with the things that are maybe taking up your time, that you would rather be doing other things. So Bashar says follow your joy. And if I'm following my joy, is maybe not doing admin. So if I can get my AI to do my admin for me, and with an AI agent, like, what a beautiful benefit for that. So I really think that AI is here to help us be better versions of ourselves, as long as we don't give away our humanity. I also think a lot of people are consumers rather than creators. And I think if we use AI to create, I think that is powerful. But when we use AI just to consume, I think we give our power away.
Undoubtedly true. It's about creating, just because it's like now intelligence has abrupted. Like there is explosion of intelligence. Earlier, there were, just because one was wise person and other was probably not. One was like one knowing a lot of things, and other person was not. One was gold medalist, another was mediocre, and other was the third one was failing probably. But it's like a gold medal is just a chip away now. You've got all your books in one small data chip. So intelligence is already there. Now it's about execution. Thank you so much for giving us your time. But I mean, before we leave, I'll again go back to my initial request of how are we writing our book on abundance together.
Zafar, to be absolutely truthful with you right now, I'm focused on my course and getting this out. So I'm happy to give you guidelines and to support you in it, but I don't know if it's the project for me right now to be doing, because I'm really focused um, on my work. And something you said just before we started we went live, and you said, I've been spreading myself very thin, and I think that I've spent years spreading myself thin, and I'm just very aware now of not doing that. So I think it's a beautiful project. I think it's a really lovely idea. And I'm happy to support that. But for me to put the time into that now is just not, it's not a reality for me right now. I'm focusing on my course.
Okay, I mean, I'm flattered. Thank you so much. I mean, when you say it's a beautiful idea, I want you to deep dive a little more. What's abundance to you? And do you think abundance is the real solution ultimately, just because we are about to reach the singularity? Or I believe we've already reached, just because, the explosion of general intelligence is already there, and it's about the smart intelligence. Like AI is already there. Artificial general intelligence is under beta version. It is being under processing, and the smart and the artificial smart intelligence is just around the corner. When artificial smart intelligence we reach it, that's the singularity. So I mean, we are almost living the age of singularity. So why? I mean, the abundance is the only solution. We have to acquire abundance. We have to tune into it. It's not that like we have to reach it, but it's already there. We have to tune it. Like, I mean, there are million channels right now. Whatsoever you are tuning, that is the one you are watching or listening to. So how about this? I mean, if you can have few words before we just close down.
Yeah, abundance to me abundance is different things to different people. And I think abundance is about living the fullest expression of your soul plan, what your soul came here to experience, in a way where you are happy, you are healthy, the money is flowing as well. So it's not just financial abundance, it's health, it's happiness, it's relationships. So abundance for me is everything. Is, you know, how we can express ourselves in the fullest expression of our highest soul plan. So that for me is abundance. And I think that AI is here to teach us that we are actually way more intelligent than AI. You know, so I'm waiting for that day where humanity realizes the divine intelligence that we have access to is absolutely, it is way more powerful. So it's exciting where this is all going, and I think AI is here to teach us.
Very, very, very true. As I have been using the word augmentation, the AI is augmenting us. It's like you use vitamins, you use the different food just to augment yourself, but eventually it's you, because everything will be done through AI. But I mean, it cannot give you the human touch. Like you and me are talking thousand miles apart. You are in South Africa, I'm in Pakistan, but we are feeling these. They are the vibes that you are you are transmitting. I am receiving, and I'm transmitting. You're receiving. These vibes, AI can not an inch go near what we have. I mean, what we are through miles apart. So that's where this will be always missed by AI, artificial general intelligence, and artificial smart intelligence, but what the human touch, that you know what one wants. I mean, as we age, we want the people, the relationships, that the loved ones, they are with you together. And even one is like, you know, if you read books, those who people, the wishes, when they are dying, like 10 days, a month or so, they are told by their doctors that you got a month, you got 10 days, 15 days, what they want. That's, I mean, no artificial intelligence, no artificial general intelligence, no artificial smart intelligence can satisfy them. But a son's touch, a daughter's touch, a wife's touch, a mother's or father's touch can do. Thank you so much, Dina Cramer, for being on Abundance Show again. And we'll keep featuring you just because we are aligned. What I'm doing on this Abundance Show and what my organization is doing is exact same what you're doing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Any few words for the globe, this blue dot Earth that we are living and co-creating the future what we want. Message to the planet. Back to you.
Remember who you are. Remember that you are a divine being having a human experience, and yeah, learn to tap into and live that divinity daily. Open your heart, love unconditionally, and just be yourself. I know we spoke about that. It's not that easy, but just be yourself. You are beautiful and you are wonderful, and we all are creating an amazing world together. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dina, all the way from South Africa. And she is such an abundant personality. Whenever I request her, she finds time out of her busy time. Thank you so much for gracing Abundance. She'll see you again.
Thank you, Zafar. Thank you for inviting